Welcome to Construction Champions Podcast, where we are burning the house down and rebuilding it twice a week. I'm your host, Ron Nussbaum, and I am here to help you become the champion that you're meant to be. Along with our amazing guests along the way, we will provide you with the resources, the latest and greatest. You will sit down with disruptors in the construction industry. And my goal from day one has always been to change the mindset around the construction industry. No more where we let the 3% of bad apes dictate the entire reputation of. Welcome back, Construction Champions, to another episode. I'm your host, Ron Nussbaum. I'm the founder and CEO of BuilderComms, and I am here to direct the traffic on this. I'm the one that had the vision to say, hey, what makes a construction champion? And I'm not just going to talk about it myself. I'm going to bring on experts. I'm going to bring on people from the industry. I'm going to get their opinion, and we're going to learn how we can go do better as an industry as a whole. So I'm more of a facilitator than a host, I guess, at this point in time. Maybe I should change my title around to be a little bit more of what I actually am. I'm not here to host anything. I'm here to facilitate a conversation that moves the industry forward. And like I always say, you guys aren't here for Ron Nussbaum. You're here for my amazing guests. And today is no different. Dave, it is fantastic to have you here with us.
Hey, Ron, thanks so much for having me. I'm super pumped to be here.
Awesome, man. Well, before we dive into it, why don't you introduce yourself to all the construction champions out there?
All right. Hey, construction champions. First time listener, first time guest. Pumped to be here. So I'm Dave Rossberg. I'm a former Navy nuclear submarine officer, and I also used to be a general contractor. These days, I focus on helping owners in the trades, construction, engineering, any other sort of technical profession. I focus on helping you guys run your businesses better, right? I'm talking about the guys who grew up swinging wrenches, that sort of thing, and decided, hey, I'm going to go do things better because I got a better way to do it. And, maybe we don't realize how much there actually is to running a business. So I step in and sort of help you get out of your own way so you can focus on the good stuff.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm sure you said you were a general contractor. How did all that unfold?
Yeah. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster for me. Like I said, I started off in the Navy driving nuclear submarines, did that for about 7 years after getting an engineering degree from Penn State, which I have not used to this day, but that's fine. It's more just to prove that you can learn things, I feel like, anyway, so it's fine. So I spent 7 years in the Navy driving submarines, got out, knew I didn't want to do career. So what does, the typical Navy submarine officer do when he leaves the Navy? Well, if you don't know, many of them go get their MBA. So I was like, sure, that makes sense. I'll do that. Was fortunate enough to go to Columbia, get my MBA from there. And while I was there, I sort of drank the Kool-Aid, the business school Kool-Aid. And it's really like, do I do investment banking or do I do consulting, right? Those are the two big things that really draw in a lot of sort of high octane veterans. And so I picked the consulting path. It seemed a little more interesting to me. So, got that golden ticket job. Actually had to move up to Boston, which made me sad because I'm a New Yorker, but got that job and was super excited and then ended up hating every minute of it. And you may or may not have heard that before, but it was grueling. I learned a lot, but it was not something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So left that around 2019, just before COVID hit. Spent some time at a tech startup for about 6 months. Startup life is really volatile. I won't get into the details. That ended up not working out. Now I'm in January of 2020. Unemployed, just got let go. What am I going to do? Well, I opened up an LLC the day after I got let go from the startup. Really no clue what I was going to do with it. So January, February, spent some time kind of dicking around, figuring out what am I going to do? What am I going to do? By the time the end of February comes around, things are weird, right? Like you remember what it was like. I'm in New York City, so things were getting a little extra weird. Nobody's hiring anymore. And I'm like, I got to get some income. What am I going to do? And so some background, about 5 years prior to that point. Well, so even more back, right? My dad's been in construction his whole life. I grew up around it. His dad was in construction his whole life after, getting out of World War II. So like it's in my blood. I speak the language. I've got more tools in my apartment than any bachelor living in Manhattan should. So what am I going to do? Oh, well, I'll start my own construction business. That makes sense, right? So January or February 2020, start my own construction business, end up becoming a general contractor that's doing projects for the federal government. So bidding on work, nothing huge, just, a few $100,000 renovations, bidding on the jobs, finding the trades to do the work, and then becoming the project manager. So I know what everybody's going through. I felt the pain. I've been there. I've done that. And man, it's, what, when everything works, it's awesome. But how often does that actually happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's always hiccups. There's always, you got to get your hands dirty. And I did more than once as the owner / project manager, doing things I shouldn't have been doing. May or may not have been like qualified to do, but we won't go there. I've got a couple engineering degrees, so like I figured it out. It was fine.
Probably maybe a little overqualified.
Yeah, maybe. Long story short, I kind of got tired of just like being a project manager, right? That it was not, I was good at it. It was better than being a consultant, but it still wasn't, doing it for me. So the whole time I'm off on my own, my dad's trying to get me to come work for him. And I don't know if you have any experience with family business, but I'm like, I don't know. Definitely not. Eventually, I sort of caved, right? Got tired of doing the project management side of things, running my own show. So I go to my dad and I'm like, all right, here's my proposal. Number one, I'm going to work with you, not for you. Number two, I'm not doing any construction or any project management. And he's like, he looks at me like I got three heads. What are you going to do for me, Dave? And so I sort of let it like marinate for a second. And I'm like, I'm going to help you run your business better. Because I know shit that he doesn't. I've been there and done that, things that he hasn't. He's by far the construction expert. I know business in a way that he didn't. So had a lot of value to add, a lot of stuff to bring to the table. And, we hit the ground running. There was a lot of excitement up front. We did a lot of really good stuff. I call that the honeymoon phase. He's really stubborn. Turns out the apple didn't fall that far from the tree. So it was not meant to be for a long-term thing, but that's okay. He ended up kind of being my first client without me even realizing it. So when I'm stepping away from him, looking at what else is out there, I get approached by this business coaching franchise. And I'm like, what the hell is business coaching? I didn't know it was a thing. Most people don't, which is another battle that I fight every day. But I do my diligence and I'm like, this is what I got to be doing. This is what I was trying to do with Dad. Now I can bring it to more people and help more owners in construction become, you're going to like this, the champions that I know they can be.
Absolutely, man. So then let me ask the $1 million question, and that is, what makes a construction champion?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's all about the people. The guys and gals in the trades, they're doing the work, right? These people build the world and they make it run for us. I really think that like construction, the trades, they're the unsung heroes of modern society. We couldn't have what we have without these people doing these things.
They are the unsung heroes. It's why one of the reasons I do this podcast is so you become not the unsung heroes. Realize that we are champions. We are the ones that not only built this country, but also keep this country going.
Absolutely.
There should be pride in that. And we should not let the small fraction of the industry that gives us a bad reputation dictate our reputation and just let it slide. So I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Being part of this industry, it to me, it's just such an honor, and it's an honor to be able to do something like this to help the industry. So let's dive into this a little bit more. That's, it is all about the people, but people are something we have a problem with in this industry, whether having them, keeping them, not pissing them off, keeping them happy. Like we do have some people issues that are just at the forefront all the time.
No doubt. For me, you've seen Dirty Jobs, right, Mike Rowe?
Yep.
That is the center of it all for me, right? Finding the guys and gals that like bleed their heart and soul into their work.
Mm.
And it's hard work, man. Like, you've been out in the field, I'm sure. It's not easy. Sometimes it's fun, but like it's not easy.
If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Let me so you work with a lot of owners. What are you seeing out there? What's some of the conversations that you're having that I always like to ask it from this that surprise you, that is even something that we're talking about?
That surprises me, honestly. Not a ton surprises me at this point. It's the typical stuff, right? Like, everybody is hurting for good talent.
Mm.
Whether it's, front guys on the front line, tradesmen, or even good like project managers to run the office and to run the jobs. Everybody's hurting for talent.
Mm.
I'm hearing that across the board everywhere. And we put ourselves in that situation as a country, right? Everybody's got to go to college, got to get a degree, which is bullshit. It's not for everybody. You can make a really good career for yourself in the trades.
Mm. Yeah, we have really undervalued the construct. I mean, I just the trajectory you can have in the construction industry, and it's not just field work. Like, everybody thinks you have to swing a hammer in the construction industry. It's not true. That was my route to getting into leadership and all of that, but that doesn't have to be everybody's route. I have seen other people go through the office side of things or the account. There's so many different sides of a construction business. It's just like any other business. The production aspect is not the only way you have to go about it. And your trajectory is through the roof in the construction industry. And we do not do a good job of promoting that at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think construction is probably one of the industries that is pretty well protected, I think, from consolidation, right? You've got the big guys out there, the Turners of the world. They do their own thing, but like, there's always going to be small businesses who are building houses, who are coming to fix your sink, who are renovating your bathroom, who are redoing your floor, right? There's always going to be small businesses doing that kind of stuff. And there's millions of them.
You bring up a fascinating thing, consolidation in the construction order. So we have started to see it in the home service realms.
Yep.
It started to happen in roofing here this year, last year into this year. But when you look back at it historically, so construction is one of the only industries that have been left without having major consolidation happen. And I think within the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see that. I think the construction industry will finally consolidate, and it will force the people like who you're talking about. Like, you will have to do business better. You will have to deliver amazing customer service, because that is the only way you're going to be able to compete against the conglomerates that start to take everything over. And really, I think you're going to start to have a few main providers for everything from building houses to renovations to anything that's happening on your house within your service area. And then to be an outlier out of them, it's going to become really hard. And all the work to be able to compete in that market starts today.
I think some of the specific industries are more at risk than others. Home services, yeah, for sure. HVAC, big time. It's already happening with private equity. I haven't seen roofing yet, but I can see that happening. I think the more, I'll say, like customizable stuff, like building homes, I think that's a lot more well protected from consolidation, right? You've got guys that are growing maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 million in revenue, but beyond that, I think you put two, I don't know, man, maybe not.
I thought like we can have a debate on this. I love that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
this is just what I'm seeing in my opinion. This
Yeah.
is just from data that I have gotten. I think when you look at from say the building perspective, I think there's some players nationally that are ready to do it if they
Mhm.
felt like it was viable. Like they have the pocketbooks. We have nationwide builders that have this down to a science. Do they believe they can go out and buy up the competition and be the conglomerate, or it's going private equity is the one that has actually pushed all of this. They're the ones that started with HVAC and then went to plumbing, and then went to electrical. And now private equity is who's buying up roofing companies and consolidating all this stuff down. I think it becomes very interesting. It's like who's the first one to make the play on, say, a building company or a remodeling company that actually has their crap semi together. I mean,
Yeah.
I've watched Tommy Malo do it with garage doors.
Yep.
I mean, it's an amazing getting to know him a little bit, and like it's doable with anything, and we're like the only industry where it hasn't happened at mass scale.
Right.
Like we have just continued going along through the generation cycles without the construction industry ever seeing a big consolidation. And I'm not sold on that it's positive for it to happen, and I'm not sold on is it negative for it to happen. I just think it's going to happen. The
Possibly.
writing's on the wall.
Yeah. I think as far as builders go, if you're looking at guys who are doing like entire developments, definitely. But for some of the more high end stuff that's bespoke, I don't know.
But I mean, this is why people like you become very important to businesses
Yeah.
because you allow them to have their house in order
Yep.
to either compete or possibly be looked at for an acquisition.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. So I mentor a bunch of veterans that are looking to buy businesses. A lot of them are looking for home service businesses. They're competing directly with private equity to buy these businesses. And they're looking at guys who, they think of their business as their child, right? I want to see it go on. I want to see the legacy preserved. So they don't want to sell to private equity because they know what's going to happen. So they're looking for guys and gals, and veterans are really primed for this kind of thing. They're looking for people to come in and take over their business to lead it through the next generation. And I was having this conversation yesterday. How are you going to compete with private equity? You've got to make the relationship sticky. You've got to really deliver on excellent customer service, which is not something that anybody in construction has ever even thought about, right? You've got to do value add services. You've got to become a force in the marketplace, a brand, have a voice. That's how you're going to compete with these really consolidated behemoths. It's the only way you're going to survive.
Yeah, because they got all the money behind them. But one thing I do believe is like all the money behind you doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win. Like you
Definitely
could
not.
be
Yeah.
all the money. I think people lose sight of that. Like they lose sight of just because like I work in software. We have never taken outside money.
Nice.
All of our like we compete with venture backed companies on a daily basis. And I believe that since we are not, that's a positive for us. Most people look at that as a net positive. Now, I don't have the budget, I don't have the spend that these other companies have, but at the same time is I don't have the pressures to do stuff I don't want to do or I don't feel is in best interest of the construction industry.
Yep.
As being somebody that you own one of these companies that is not owned by a conglomerate or private equity, it puts you in a position where you can beat them at the things they cannot do and that they are unwilling to do that are actually table stakes and low hanging fruit most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are looking, so they're owned by private equity, they're owned by venture money, whatever. Those guys are owned by LPs who are looking to get their investment back. So the trickle down is these companies have to grow at a certain rate and deliver on that exit value. And that's how the investors get their money back. So are the incentives necessarily aligned for the best possible customer service and the best possible long-term generational value? I don't know.
Well,
Probably
like,
not.
well,
But
you're talking my language, because what I believe, just like with the consolidation thing, is I believe the construction industry is about ready to take a step back 15, 20 years ago, to where customer service actually met what it was. Like, we haven't gotten away from how the construction industry has been, like, was forever, was we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it. Stuff happens, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to openly talk about it, but we're going to follow through on what we said we're going to do. And the construction industry in the last 15, 20 years has taken a direct step away from that. And I feel like that's one of the things we're lost on. And when you're talking about that customer service, like, that's how you're going to win now and in the future.
yeah, I mean, if you want to go, really far back, right? Adam Smith, one of the fathers of capitalism, the whole point of a business is to serve the customer. That's why businesses exist.
Hmm. And I think that's something we have lost sight of. Like, there's been so much emphasis in the construction industry about business, 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 but we lost sight of the customer service and actually who we serve, because we became overly focused on the business. Look, we don't run nonprofits here. Like, we are in business to make money. I understand that.
Yep.
But the only way you make money is by serving your customer. And there has to be some balance in here. And I feel like the pendulum has way swung over to this business side, and we've lost focus of this customer piece.
Yeah. It's the focus on, quarterly returns and shareholder value, and that all happens at the expense of delivering a really excellent customer experience.
And but all that stuff still matters. Like, we have to have a balance. We can't
Yes.
just run construction companies like none of the business roles
Right.
apply.
Of course. But
Which is what you run into. You
look, man, if you run your business in a customer obsessed way, always putting them first, that you're gonna get loyalty, you're gonna get more business, you're gonna get better business. That's the end. That's the game. End of the day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But you still have to have a business structure.
Totally.
You can't just willy-nilly just be like,
Yeah,
we're
of
just
course not. Oh, you want a house? Here, have a house for free. No, not what I'm saying. Right? We charge fair prices for a fair day's work, and the owner who's doing all this, taking all the risk, yeah, they get reward. That's capitalism, but we're all doing it to serve the customer. We exist because of the customer. That's what I'm saying.
I love it. Because that's what it, like, exactly that 2, 3, 4 seconds of what you just said is like what every construction business out there right now, that's what they need to think about.
Yeah.
Is like, we're going to charge a fair rate. We're going to do what we say we're going to do. We're going to do this for the customer, and we're going to make money because we are a business at the end of the day, and we are allowed to be profitable. Like, I think there's like this mindset shift that has to happen between being profitable and customer service. Like, I believe there's a lot of people that believe these two can't exist in the same place. But in all reality, it's really hard for a business to last long term without those two things existing
100%.
together.
100%. And I think if you do one well, serve the customer, profit's easy.
As long as you have the back end to support it.
Yes, 100%. 100%, right? You need systems in place. You need the admin support. You need marketing, right? A lot of construction businesses don't know what the word marketing is. One of my clients I was working with a month ago, we were talking, and he's like, Dave, man, I learned more about marketing in 90 minutes than I have in my entire 15 years of owning a construction business. It's
Isn't
that
that
it's a
amazing?
foreign concept to the industry, but that's business. That's how you run a business.
It is. Isn't that amazing that you can spend 90 minutes with somebody and teach them more than 15 years of what they know?
Yeah. I wasn't teaching him how to build homes, right? He's an expert at that for sure. But I was teaching him how to market his construction business.
Yeah, you would teach them how to build more homes.
Build more homes. Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I love it. I love what you're doing. I think you have great perspectives on things. For all the construction champions listening out here, wherever they're listening,
Wherever they are
the podcasts,
in the world, in the virtual
Reese
world.
Across America Radio, wherever they're currently listening at, if they wanted to connect with you, learn more about what you do, have a conversation with you, where's the best places for them to do that?
I'm on LinkedIn, Dave Rossberg, Rossberg. You can get to me from there or email me, Dave, DAVE, at davidrossberg.com.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for taking the time and being on the show today.
Thanks, Ron. Been a pleasure. Always good talking to you.
Awesome. All right, construction champions, another episode in the bag. Once again, customer service, customer service, customer service. We're ringing the bell on construction champions. Like, the industry is going to move more back to customer service. It's what's going to lead to you prospering into having an amazing reputation, long-term success. And the great thing is you can focus in on that and focus in on what you do amazing, because there's people like Dave out there that can help you put everything together on the back end so the business aspect works. I know we've talked about this so much, is we've dived so much into systems and procedures and the business aspect that we have forgotten about the other side of this. And let me tell you, is when you build out the systems and the processes and everything on the back end, it should allow you to better serve your customer. Like, that's the reason to have it. That's the reason to build the business side of this out, is so we can focus on what we do great. Whatever your superpower is, it's not designed to make it the all-encompassing business aspect to where you completely lose sight of why you're doing this, who you do it for. Don't do that. Do it so you can better serve your customers, so you have the end result where you have money in the bank, you pay yourself, you pay your employees, everything's fantastic, you deliver an amazing customer experience. That is why the business aspect is important. It's not important because we want to have all this stuff set up and be able to just, I don't even know how we've lost sight of actually lists. Like, setting up the business back end originally was designed so we could do things that we want to do and not worry about it. Now it's all we worry about, and we don't worry about the stuff we actually care about anymore. So think about that, construction champions. And until next time, be the champion you were meant to be.